I fell asleep after 8 o'clock this morning. I'm so tired. Um, Last night, late at night, when I was still up, um, it's like, it's like I needed to grieve and I didn't have time to grieve because it was too late at night and I needed to get to bed. I needed to cry and grieve, and it's like I can't do this late because I'm gonna get my nose is gonna get stuffy and I'm gonna lay down and I'm not gonna be able to breathe, to sleep through my nose. I need to breathe through my nose. And you know, it's like I haven't had the time to grieve. Oh, I haven't been able to cry and grieve through any of this because I've had to remain strong. I didn't have, and I realized that a few times throughout these, you know, past 8 years. I realized I don't have the luxury to break down. I don't have the luxury to lose it. I don't have the luxury to fall apart, completely fall apart because I'm by myself. I I have to hold it together and protect myself. And I'd see other people breaking down and stuff. I never had the luxury of doing that. Like there's things I can say on here and can't say. And because I'm still, I'm still trying to get medical care. And, I'm still having to protect myself. But I so needed to just have a really good cry last night and grieve and what they've done to me is just really unbelievable. And what one doctor was allowed to do to me. And it has gone on because I haven't had any protection. I haven't had, you know, I don't have a family to step up and do the right thing. And the healthcare system doesn't offer you any protection. They say they do, but they don't. And long term, what has been done to me is just incredible. And the alarm clock is going off in the bedroom. Hang on. Okay, I'll tell you one of the things that one doctor was allowed to do to me. Sorry, hang on. One doctor was misleading people, and he was allowed to do that. Okay, they were, they misdiagnosed me long term, and patients, and they know this, the medical community knows this, patients don't talk about their bad experiences if they're treated with respect. If something horrible happens and you treat them with respect and apologize, or you act in a way that the patient expects you to act, and you treat the patient with kindness. And you know it's like, and I've given this analogy 100 times. It's like if I accidentally ran your kid over in the street, and I stopped the car, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I'm crying and I'm bawling, and we're both calling 911, and genuine remorse. And you're going to act a lot different towards me if I accidentally run your kid over in the street and then I drive off. I speed off and I'm hiding and I pretend I didn't do it. Or I say to people, yeah, well, that kid, there's something, a screw loose. That kid jumped directly in the path of my moving vehicle. You're going to think a lot different of me when I behave that way, right? And the medical community knows this. If you accidentally hurt somebody or do something wrong and you treat them with respect, they're less likely to talk, and they're like 99% less likely to do a lawsuit, you know? And I'm not talking about anything legal in my situation, because that doesn't happen in Canada. It's a whole can of worms. And, people think they have legal rights in Canada medically like they do in the States, and you don't. And I'm not even going to touch on that subject. It's a whole rabbit hole that you have to learn on your own. But if you're treated with respect and things are done right, if the provider behaves with integrity, and but here's the thing. When you mention misdiagnosis, when you're talking to a doctor, when you mention misdiagnosis, lots of doctors are cringing inside, because I think they fear their own mistakes that they've made, right? They fear somebody talking about mistakes they've made or accusing them of mistakes and stuff, right? So that's understandable that most doctors would cringe. But then you get the odd doctor that is raging that you even mentioned misdiagnosis. And what has happened in my case is they misdiagnosed a bunch of stuff long term. And when I was in a state, a medical state of terror and medical crisis, and looking for an ally and trying hard to get diagnosed and severely sleep deprived and really out of it and looking for an ally, I said to a specialist, I had fought and fought to get diagnosed, and I'm sitting with the specialist, and he's asking me questions about past doctors and stuff, and I'm saying I was misdiagnosed. It's 100% true that I was misdiagnosed, and I think he was really angry, and he was really angry that I said I was being misdiagnosed, and I feel like I'm not explaining myself well. I feel like I'm not conveying my message. I don't know why. Like, I'm still discombobulated from waking up. He was misdiagnosing me. I'm sitting in front of him, and I'm in medical crisis, and he doesn't believe me, and I'm critically sleep deprived. I'm sleeping, and I told him I'm sleeping only 1 or 2 hours a night and struggling with my oxygen, struggling with breathing, and I'm fighting hard to get into the hospital. And he absolutely didn't believe me. And I don't want to get into the details, but so he was, essentially, when you don't believe someone, you're misdiagnosing them. If you don't believe what a patient is saying, and he didn't think that I had sleep apnea, and he didn't think that I had severe insomnia. And so after I saw him, it took months more to get into the hospital. I should have gone in right away. I was in medical crisis. I should have been bumped right to the front of the line. They should have got me in somehow immediately. And here's the thing. They're trying to downplay it. This guy tried to downplay it. Once he found out that he was misdiagnosing me. Okay, so he was misdiagnosed. God, I don't know why I can't articulate. So he did not believe that I had severe insomnia, and he didn't believe that I had severe sleep apnea. And then when I was so out of it that I needed an advocate, but I was still conveying what I needed to say. I was still able to say, that I'm sleeping only 1 or 2 hours a night. I'm struggling to breathe. I'm stopping breathing nonstop. I'm stopping breathing and I'm jumping out of bed to get my body breathing. He didn't believe. A doctor not believing you can be the difference between life and death. You don't have to prove how ill you are. A doctor has to have discernment, right? A doctor's ability to discern whether what you're saying is true or not can mean the difference between life and death. And he didn't believe me. I was forced to wait, and it took. I was that severe for, I think, almost a year. That severe as I was in front of him. And I should have been in the hospital. I was fighting for my life that whole time. And when I finally got into the hospital months later, after he was misassessing me, I proved that I was right. And he was in a state of shock. And I'm sitting in front of him. I'm in medical crisis and I'm in a state of shock. And I can see he's in a state of shock. He's shocked that he misdiagnosed me. And I was stopping breathing nonstop. And my oxygen was down in the low 70s. Severe sleep apnea, a lack of drive to breathe. And I was in medical crisis, and I should have been hospitalized. I was sent home, and I was asking him questions, and he refused to answer my questions. I needed protection from him, and I needed an advocate. And no one would provide anything. And he refused to answer my questions. He just looked at me like this, like I'm looking at the camera. He was just shocked. And I asked him, I have Chiari malformation. Do you know I have Chiari malformation? He refused to speak. How can my Chiari malformation impact the sleep apnea? Can it cause sleep apnea? How can it impact my breathing? He refused to speak. I said, what about the medications that I was on? How could those